Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another one of my dad builds. Thank you all for such a support on the dad builds. A lot of you have been telling me how much you like it and how much you've enjoyed it and how much you're having a lot of fun with it. So thank you so much for that. So what I have here is an update for the Arcanist build. We've got a update coming in update 40 next week, and so I wanted to get something out there because we do need to tweak it a little bit to get it ready for the new Endless Archives. If you don't know what the Endless Archives is, it's kind of this arena format that is endless. And so we need a little bit of everything. And so I tried to make a build that was simple and kind of combined everything that I like doing and find is very effective in all different situations. We've given us a little bit of dot damage, giving us our beam damage, maneuverability, lots of different aspects to it. And we're going to go through all of that. And so I think it's our strongest build to date, especially now with the format. And like I said, I'm a kind of an old school. I like dot builds, so this has got some dot aspects with it because it's kind of fun to just dot up an enemy and walk away, very cinematically and watch them die. So, but having the great power of the Arcanist, because I tried to make something similar in the last couple of months of doing something with the DK, but the Arcanist is just so strong. I thought, you know what, let's just go all in with the Arcanist with this, update it, and I think this would probably be our best choice for going into those archives and having success in there. So yeah, so let's get to it. All right, so we are looking at first for the gear. Let's see what we're doing. We switched it up a little bit for our gear. Well, I think with originally when we were looking at this for that, we started to use the Velothi Mage's Amulet, which was really good, mixed with things. But you know what? Our good old-fashioned Oakensoul just does so much because the other amulet that we used for the Mythic was great for a lot of power, great for that our parsing and stuff, but parsing with this doesn't really matter, and that goes, me saying that because you know how much I love to parse, but the whole idea is survivability, maneuverability, getting out of trouble, still doing a lot of significant damage in here, and having a lot of fun with it. So the Oakensoul really gives us the best of all that because it does give us, our things like our minor berserk, so we don't need a trial set. But it also gives us, we forget, it gives us a lot of defensive stuff in here. It gives us some nice, extra healing stuff with the minor mending, the minor fortitude. In there we get, our ability to do a heavy attack every once in a while and do significant damage with our Empower. We get our evasion. We get, all these things that really kind of help us out with survivability. So it's such a great choice for Mythic. So we're going to go ahead and use that. Now, I do that and I pair it with our other one piece that we're going to have is our Slimecraw. Now, we're going to have our Slimecraw Guise. We're going to have it in light because everything else is going to be medium. And we're going to want some to utilize some of the extra buffs and stuff that we get with having a light piece in our set. So go with the light, go with the Slimecraw's Guise. And if you haven't watched any of my other videos and you're like, why Slimecraw? Well, because Slimecraw, for some unknown reason, gives us a little bit extra crit chance. Like if you see in the first item line, it says adds 771. I think everything else gives you like 686 or something like that. I just is. So that's why people pick it. So if you ever wonder why, people pick the Slimecraw crit chance over something else, it's because of that. So, all right. Then we're getting into the change because the two sets that we're having is Deadly and Pillar of Nirn. So we have Deadly from before. We were using that. What does it give us? It gives us our spell damage, our crit damage, some more spell damage, and then the 5 item line is increases the damage for your damage over time and channeled abilities by 15%. Oh my gosh, is that perfect for us? Remember, I said I wanted to do stuff with more damage over time stuff and channel ability, as well as our channeled stuff. So this helps us so much. It's such an excellent choice for us. Now, the other one that I'm adding to is one that I got from off of my DK that I was looking at. My DK, I was combining a pillar with Runecarver. That's the one that does like for your fire skills after or your dot skills after 3 seconds. It fires out like a fireball. Excuse me. Sip of water. So it paired really well with that when I was trying to work with that DK build in that. And so I said, you know what? That works so good. Let's do this. Now, this is the set that, we always hate to using the word and stuff like that. It's getting a little bit of a nerf, not too much. It's still what it is that it's very, very powerful right now. And so it's going to get dialed back just a little bit. I forget the numbers in there, but it's nothing so significant that would take it off our build. So if you hear that in the next week or when people are using it and are just like, oh, it's been nerfed and everything like that. Nope, not at all. It's still going to be so good. It's going to give us a little bit of stamina, which is nice, crit chance, spell damage, and if you don't know, the 5-item line, when you do damage, you create a fissure underneath the enemy for after 1 second, dealing bleed damage to all enemies within 2.5 meters and causing them to bleed an additional 21,000. I think it's something like after the nerf, it's probably gonna be like 20,000 instead of 21,000. It's still a lot of bleed damage, so it's something like that. So if you're wondering, it's like, oh my gosh, should I be changing? Should I do something? No. And it's still going to last for 10 seconds. The effect can occur every 10 seconds and scales off of the higher of your weapon or spell damage. So it's really, really good. Really still amazing. So putting those two together are going to be great. Again, we're looking at power. We're looking at bleeds. We're looking at damage over times. So that it's not just direct damage, and then we don't have any kind of dots to go with it. So that's, again, I'm kind of stressing that through this build because one of the things I didn't like about my original Arcanist one is that I would do a lot of damage, and then an enemy would be stuck at 1%, and he wouldn't die for a little while because I thought he was going to. And so having this dot damage around is going to be fantastic. So those little ones that are have about a percentage or two left or anything are just going to die to your dots. So those are our two sets. So again, to review, you've got Oakensoul, you've got the Slimecraw guys, and then you're going to get yourself a set of Pillar of Nirn, which comes out of Falkreath Hold, which is you can do it on normal. If you notice, it's not a perfected set. It's just you can go through on normal, so it's actually a easy one to acquire, which is part of our mantra for our dad builds. And then Deadly is a PvP, so it's pretty easy for you to just buy off of a trader. So, or if you do PvP, you can just get it that way. So, yeah. So that's what you do. Let's see. And because we are a 1-bar build, it doesn't matter what pieces go where. So it doesn't matter what pieces go where. I've got the Pillar of Nirn Lightning Staff because it was easier for me to get, cheaper to get than to get the Deadly one. So it's whatever combination. I think that's fantastic. So if you happen to get the Pillar of Nirn Lightning Staff to drop, hey, boom, you're all set. If you get the Deadly for a good price or something, or get it to drop when you're doing some PvP, wonderful. So it really doesn't matter, what combinations that you have in here. So for the armor pieces, everything is going to have a Magicka enchant, and everything's going to be in Divines. All right, we're going on the Magicka side. In here, I did try. I was trying to figure out this build. I did do like a 2-bar setup, threw all the meta stuff on there, and I was parsing I think like 110K. I'm like, this is fantastic. Let me see how it fares like in an arena or something like that. And I died in like 3 seconds. So that's what kind of started me down this path. Like, I got to figure out something dad build wise that can give us the sustainability and what we need and stuff. And and I was on the stamina side doing that. And I said, gosh, for me, stamina just doesn't work. I'm such a Magicka, guy. It just kind of works that way. Maybe that's just a trend with myself and some other people. So Magicka, Divines for everything. It's going to be in medium. All these things are in medium, so it doesn't matter. Like I said, which one you do. The rings, the jewelry is going to be Bloodthirsty, and the multi-effect enchantment is going to be your weapon spell damage. It's going to be your Magicka damage, and so that gives you that little bit of Magicka recovery with it. So, and for your weapon, it's going to be imprecise with a weapon enchant on it. So you get the extra spell damage for us. So that's our gear. Next, let's go to our CP. So let's go to our CP, because I always forget the CP. So let's go into here. This is where we're going to get a little bit different. We're going to be focusing, again, on our dots and our AoEs, because the skills that we have are... actually, you know what? I always go back and forth with this. Actually, no, I'll do the CP first. We'll get to the skills later. So CP in here is going to be Thaumaturge, Biting Aura, so again, damage over time, AoEs, Wrathful Strikes to give us the extra spell damage in here. We're going to have plenty of... we don't need our Fighting Finesse. We're going to have plenty of our crit damage, because we are Khajiit, which is a wonderful thing. So that makes it really nice that we don't have to feel like we include Fighting Finesse or something else. We can go right to the Wrathful Strikes. And then here's the new one for me. I had to do a little bit of research with this and stuff, because I've seen this on different builds and different parses, and using the Exploiter. And so the Exploiter is a new one here for us. Increases your damage done against off-balance enemies by 2% per sage. So 10% extra damage in here. So this is why we're going to be using our Lightning Staff. For one reason that we're using our Lightning Staff. Another one with the Lightning Staff is that it gives us some bonuses to our AoEs and stuff. So, but this I found was very effective with this, using our Wall of Elements, because our Wall of Elements skill is going to set them off balance. And so every once in a while, when that goes off, you just set it and forget it. You don't have to think about it. We start doing a bunch of extra damage. So a lot of fun with that. For our reds and stuff, you can, I go with a Boundless Vitality, basically the basic ones that we had before. Give us your boost to max health, to armor, to Rejuvenation of our resources, and then Siphoning spells. Whenever you kill an enemy, you get some resource back. The green, whatever you like in there and stuff. I love my Treasure Hunter, my Master Gatherer, Plentiful Harvest, and Rationer, but you can have anything that you want in there. The green CP doesn't matter so much within that. If you're doing a speed arena, which the new Endless Archives isn't, you could swap out that Siphoning spells and get yourself a where is it down here? The Celerity, so you run a lot faster. So you have your options in your red and your green trees. But for your blue, you want your Thaumaturge, you want your Biting Aura, you want your Wrathful Strikes, and your Exploiter. So there's your CP in there. All right. Attributes. Put everything into our Magicka. Put all 64 points into your Magicka. Don't even have to worry about it. The Mundas stone that we're going to have, that is going to be our Thief. All right, that's going to give us our increase our spell crit. We want that. Food is going to be the, because we don't have to worry about resources with this one, because we can do heavy attacks to get it back, and heavy attacks do some good damage. So I like the Longfin Pasty with melon sauce. So that's what we use. It gives an increase to max health, to max Magicka, and max stamina by a lot. They're all in the 4,000s. in there, so you get a lot to all of your things. The pots that I use are the tripods. The tripods are just so good in there, and we get them for free. Gosh, and people talk about like we don't get much in our in the monthly rewards and stuff that we get in here, and people unless we get a mount, and everybody wants a mount in there. But one thing it does give us is that usually like twice a month we get all of these. We get like 200 restoration pots. And so we get a lot of stuff, and they're really good. And you can make them too, but why not if you get them for free? Restores a ton of health, 9,000 health, 7,000 over 7,000 magicka and stamina immediately. Grants you fortitude and intellect and stuff like that, which absolutely fantastic. A bunch of that is kind of overlaps with what we get with our Oakensoul ring, so we don't have to worry about it so much in there. But it's just a really great overall, get us back into the fight pot. So and it's free, so wonderful stuff. So and let me make sure I have mine on. Yeah. So there you go. So if we do that, and we kind of look at what kind of stats that I'm getting with this setup, my Magicka is at almost at 30k. My max health is at 24. My stamina is almost at 20, which is great because we do use some stamina with our tentacle skill. And then we have our good recovery and actually really good stamina recovery there. But again, we're not going to need it a whole lot again for our Magicka because we're going to be having our heavy attacks give us back our resources and do some good damage. In there. Our spell damage is going to be 4,500. Our spell crit percentage is 50%, which is fantastic. Spell penetration is good there as well. Yeah. Let's see. So all of that in there, good. All right, the skills. So again, we are on a 1-bar build. So we're looking at our skills. The very first one that we're going to use from the Arcanist is going to be the Inspired Scholarship. All right, Inspired Scholarship that's coming out of our Herald of the Tome, the very first one, our DPS tree in there. And it's the morph of the Tome Bearer's Inspiration. So what we get here is that etched in a series of runes on your weapon that pulses with power every 3 seconds. Each pulse enhances your class abilities, and striking an enemy with one deals an additional almost 4k magic damage and generates a crux. Hopefully by now you're familiar with the crux system, where basically you're building up these little cruxes, these little triangles that go around you, and everything to do more damage, and they get consumed by other skills. Let's see. When slotted on either bar, gain Major Brutality, Major Sorcery, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20%. So it's a really good one in there. The next one is our Unstable Wall of Storms. And by the way, some people go, "Oh, go with the other one because it's got the it's redundant and stuff like that." No, because we want to use this one because it gives us the magic damage on it. So we don't use this so much for the brutality or sorcery, our spell damage going up 20%. We get that from our ring already, from our major. It is major, right? Yeah, major brutality is sorcery. We do it because we want to have that the extra magic damage on top of it. So it's an all damage thing for us. So the next thing, here's the one: the Unstable Wall of Storms from a Lightning Staff. Slam down your staff to create an unstable storm barrier in front of you, dealing 1354 shock damage to enemies in the target area for every 1 second, setting concussed enemies off balance for 7 seconds. And it'll even notify you. You have a little thing that says, that they are concussed or they are off balance. And when the effect ends, the barrier explodes, dealing shock damage. So it does a fair bit of shock damage. And a lot of people don't know with that shock damage is that it will end, when you click it again. So if you go like this and then you click it before the time's up, boom, you see that explosion. It does go off. It does go off when you do that. So you don't have to wait to the end if you want to do a little burst of damage to it. So, yeah. And that's going to help us with our off balance. That's going to trigger our exploiter, which is going to give us even some more damage. The 10% more damage. So it's going to be fantastic. Love it. Then we have the our builder of our crux, the Cephaliarch's Flail. The infuse your armor with abyssal magic to form the tentacles that lash out your foes, dealing 86.95 physical damage, healing yourself. This is why we picked this morph. This morph also heals us for a little bit. We do need to add a secondary heal to our bar, but it does give us a little bit of heal, which is nice, and it generates crux. Enemies are immobilized. That's the other part of this. This is the control part of this build. Is that they do get immobilized for 3 seconds. So you'll have a group of enemies coming at you. So that you lay down your storm for your dots as they're coming in, and they might get concussed or thrown off bounds, and then you immobilize them so that they're stuck in that AoE. They can't go anywhere, and then they're taking all that damage, and then you're just ready to beam them. It's great. So this also marks them with Abyssal Ink for 20 seconds. That deals up to 100% more damage to enemies below 50 health. And you deal 5% increase of damage to enemies that are in the ink. So you want these on there. At least one, even if you don't have like all 3 cruxes up, at least douse them in the ink of this so that you can do some more damage with your beam. So now we've got the beam. So they've been shocked. I am shocked. They're shocked. They are immobilized. Because remember, we're going to be dealing arena stuff. We're going to have groups of enemies, coming at us. So we've got to deal with the groups. So the AoEs will be very important. So we've got all of that down. Again, I get excited. And then we're going to beam away, beam away, beam away. Harness the pure knowledge of the beam energy that scars the world in front of you. Channel the beam for 4 seconds, dealing 4,600 Magicka damage for over 3.3 seconds. With channeling, you gain a damage shield. Okay, this is the other cool thing. You get a damage shield with this one. So a process here is that we lay it down. Boom. We get that ink on, stuff like that. They're immobilized. And then we beam away. And then look at this like cool little shield that we get around us. So even if they start to slowly make their way towards you, if they were all mobilized and stuff like that, they're banging on this shield, which is, you're nice and protected. Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. I love it. All right. So we've got this beam in there. Increases damage done with the cruxes by 33%, decreases the cost by 16%. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So again, we've got something that gives us a little extra damage using these 2 other skills. We're using the unstable wall instead of another because of my other build and stuff. We use some different. I think we use some defensive stuff or some other things in there. It's like, no, we're going to use our wall of the elements. We're going to concuss them. We're going to get the dots flowing on them, and then we'll immobilize them, and then we're just going to beam them down, and they're knocking on our shield, and they can't get to us. Boom, and they just all die. It's fantastic. And then I always like having a nice heal. All right, and we've got this wonderful heal on here, which also can, because remember in the Endless Archive, you can go in with a friend as well. And so it gives you a little heal that might help them out as well, because it's craft a series of adaptive apocryphal runes, then propel them at yourself or an ally in front of you. The runes heal for 17 health 3 times. Additional was 5k health over 6 seconds and generates a crux. So we also get a crux off of that too. So, if you might be, and it's Magicka, which is great. So, like, if you're in trouble and you're just, I'm in trouble, you're running around, you're just like, okay, let me heal, boom, and then we'll be able to It only does it when we're in, get the cruxes when we're in a fight. And so then we'll get, lost my train of thought there. Let's see. An additional 5k health over 6 seconds, and it creates a crux. Yeah, it generates a crux and everything. So then you can go right from that healing, boom, right into your beam. And so do some quick damage off of it. So again, something that's very much in a a non-parsing, real life, moving around situation, trying to get out of trouble, healing yourself kind of situation. It's so good. It's such a great heal. And then we have, and this, gosh, you could actually choose either morph, whichever you like. I like the Languid Eye version of this because I like having an AoE on the ground where, that I can actually, put that down on. You see there's like a little circle around and I can kind of aim it where I want it. The other morph of it lasts a little bit longer and like follows the enemy or goes searches out for another enemy, but you have to actually apply it to them. You actually have to have the enemy selected to apply it, where with this I'm actually selecting a spot on the ground to be able to do it. So yeah. And what does this do if you don't know? Tear open the fabric of the Arbis to summon a scion of Hermaeus Mora. This being cast forth and being runs. Oh my gosh, it's all this language stuff like that. Basically, it does a whole big beam for almost 6k Magicka damage within the 5 meter thing for so many seconds. And every 0.5 seconds, the beam is increased by 7%, so it gets stronger. Yeah, so I like that. So that's our bar. That's our bar. I really like it a lot. Like I said, it combines my favorite things about a dot build and an AoE build and a just the strong beam that we get. So it's going to give you damage over time. It's going to give you control. It's going to give you the strength to be able to burn enemies down. And this is kind of the combination of the 3 types of dad builds that I have. The control side of it. Controlling your enemies through the immobilization and the concussiveness that you're going to get with, the storms and the flail. Both of those ideas come to me from the Frostagon build. We love our Frostagon build. By the way, just as is, if you're still playing a Frostagon build, just as is, it works because it's a control build. Everything kind of freezes stuff. You control where the enemies are and how fast they're coming at you and stuff, and you can take your time and do stuff. Boom. We have that with these 2 skills. I love dots. All right. We've got some wonderful dots because we have our storms here. And technically, even though these are channeled, it's damage over time. So these are dots. That's why we choose what we choose. But we're also helping ourselves out with the armor, with the Pillar of Nirn, having that bleed damage in there, a little small AoE bleed damage on there. So again, it's creating these dots. So we have our control, and we have these dots going on. So when that pillar goes off, and you have and they're standing in your wall of storms, even if you're not doing anything with these 2 other skills, you're getting a good significant dot on there, so that, like I said, when they have a percentage of health left, they're going to die. Because I said that was always kind of disheartening with the Arcanist for me, with the setup that I had, with the other one, which was fantastic. But if I wasn't doing damage with the beam or with the flail, I wasn't killing anything, and their damage weren't going down. So, but now we have 2 things that'll allow us to have a good dot. One of them's automatic, and then one of them's one that we cast out. So we've got that. And then, of course, we've got the raw power of everything. The flail is so strong and also gives us a little bit of healing, which is fantastic. We've got the beam, which is so strong, but also gives us a little bit of shielding. So you can kind of see how, as trying to find a well-rounded build that does a little bit of everything, or a little bit of everything that I think is important for something in an arena context, especially. This isn't going to top the charts of a parse. So if you're parsing with it, and you parse with it and you get like 30, 40, 50k or whatever you're able to parse on it, and you're like getting discouraged, because everybody does. I know people do, because unless you get 100k, people get discouraged in their parses. And I can tell you this for a fact: I parsed 110k with a 2-bar setup, and I just did this past week just to make sure. Was it 110k or 107k? Let me see. I can even show. Was it with this? Where's my thing? Let me show this to make you. Where was it? Was 102k? Might have been. Was it 102k? Yeah, the Arcanist was 102. Did I not save it? Yeah, I didn't save my other. Of course, because sometimes I'll take screenshots and sometimes I won't. But this was 102. This was a 2-bar one, right? Yeah. So 100, over 100k parse, and awesome. Everything was great. I'm just like, yeah, this is gonna be the build and everything. And then I go out and I try that, gargoyle there in Riverspire. That's like one of the hardest world bosses before the new world bosses, because we've got like new bosses in Necrom that are just ridiculous. Stuff. But that one's a really hard one, stuff like that. It killed me in like 3 seconds. Couldn't do anything about it. Couldn't heal myself through it. Couldn't do anything through it. Everything. Couldn't burn it down. It was awful. This is what kind of sent me down this path of finding this build. I was upset. I'm like, I've got all this power. I got all this thing. I should be able to do all this stuff. And it was like, no. It was like too many skills. It was too complicated. And I'm like, man, I can't do it. In a trial, I could see it just, lighting things up, and like in a dungeon or something like that. But man, it was too much for me to try in something that I was kind of simulating an arena format. And so it wasn't working. So I went to work on this and trying to find something. And I think we really did find it in here. It gives us everything, all the stuff that we need. It really synergizes very well. And again, very simple, so you don't get confused. You can move around and not get, confused by everything. All right. Let's see. Last things. Take all of the passives. There is, by the way, even though we don't have something in the Soldier of Apocrypha, a lot of people miss it. Implacable outcome. The will of the Arcanist is absolute. When you consume Crux, you gain 4 ultimate. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. Make sure to pick that one up, even though we don't have any skills or anything in here, because that does not rely on having any of the skills. So do that one. Pick up all the passives from the healing tree. Weapon one with a structured weapon. Make sure to pick up all the ones from here. And there is, let me show, this is another reason why we're using the lightning staff. Let's see, fully charged lightning heavy attacks damage nearby enemies 100% of the damage. So that, again, because of our empower that we have, our empower buff, that makes us really strong with a heavy attack. We also do that heavy attack damage in a kind of an AoE, in a nearby damage. So your heavy attack is very powerful. So if you need resources back, or you just want to throw down a few heavy attacks, I was very surprised with it when I do it. Now, the only tricky thing now is that it doesn't do damage, along the way anymore. It's at the end. So you hold on to it, stay the course, then boom, you're going to have a pop of huge damage in there. So, yeah. Let's see. abilities. What was the other one? Stats effect. Oh, here's the other. Lightning staffs increase your damage done with direct damage. All right, which we got some of that. But channeled effects. That's how it synergizes with our beam. So lightning staff is going to help out our channel effects by 12%. Oh my gosh, you're going to hit like a truck. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to be so strong. I'm going to be so proud of you. Yeah, and that's it. So I hope you're all kind of seeing how, we're putting this together, the thoughtful process with this and how all of this works. There's so many things that synergize just so well, with having the lightning staff and using the unstable wall, as our choice on the bar, which I wasn't doing before. In there. So that's fantastic. Our armor is a mix of light and medium, so make sure that you go all the light and medium. World, whatever you put into all the world stuff. Guild stuff, let's see, none of them really make a difference for us because we're not doing any of this stuff. And, except for Undaunted, this is, we've got our light and our medium. So we get a few buffs in there because we have two different with our Undaunted metal. So we get a little buff of 4% to our overall stats. So that's kind of nice. Our writing skill, make sure you have that for your quick writing. Your ratio, love the Khajiit, of course. The Khajiit is so great because it gives us a little bit of everything. Some boost to our, increase to our health, Magicka, and stamina. Just a little bit. It's not a ton, but it helps. To our resources and stuff. And then the one that's really nice, for us as far as picking our CP points in here is that we get an increase to critical damage, critical healing by 12%. So that means that we don't have to take a fighting finesse if we don't want to. Yeah, so absolutely just fantastic. Oh, and that just reminded me, because I was looking at our single target damage thing. I also got this for you. This, you might be looking down here and you're looking at, wait, is it this one? Yeah. Okay, hold on. I'll get excited. You might be going down here and looking and you're saying, wow, 71, 71k parse, not too bad, something like that. Well, this is a 71 parse on the world boss that comes out of High Isle that has all the, I forget what they're called. Well, they're called like was it Hadalid? The Hadalids and stuff like that. The world boss, let's see, out of High Isle, I believe he's, where is he at? Is he up this road and everything? It's like near a waterfall and everything, and it's like I don't know, like two brothers or anything like that. You're trying to kill two. Oh no, it's over here. You're trying to kill two of them at these falls, and they keep on conjuring up all these little ones in there. Great example of what this is made for. That I'm going after the two big guns, and then they have all these minor ones that they keep on summoning all these ads, and I soloed all of it. It was so great, and my crit stuff was at 96%, which was absolutely fantastic. You see that my Fatecarver was doing a ton of work, my Flail as well. But look at this in here. Look what came in number 4. I'm just going to have a sip of water while you look at that. Number 4 and number 5 are dots. Wall of Storm, Pillar of Nirn. They did their job. All right? They did their job. Our dots, laying them down, doing a lot of meaningful damage against all the enemies over here. And then we, cleaned everybody up by doing our Flail and our Fatecarver. This is exactly what we wanted. All right? This is exactly what we wanted to happen in here. That we had, and they're running around like crazy. I'm throwing down my, my wall, and then I'm controlling them, keeping them in that wall, and then I'm doing this, and the the big boys were bashing away at me. They couldn't get past my shield, and I'm moving around and everything. I'm so mobile. I'm moving them. I'm hitting things with stuff, doing that, getting my beam and everything like that. Oh, I'm in trouble. Okay, a little dodge roll. We're going to do a little heal. I'm doing a reenactment, by the way. And then I'm laying down another thing like that, and then I do a couple of my things, and then boom. And then I'm just burning down, and then I kind of look around and just like, oh, what a beautiful waterfall. And then they were dead. And that's a significantly hard world boss because of all the ads that are going on now. And that's a great simulation of what we're going to be seeing in our, in our endless archives, or when you're just doing stuff in that. So again, don't let the fact that 71k DPS damage. If you're thinking of DPS numbers, that's not what this is about. Because like I said, I was over 100k, and I couldn't have taken that build into where I was and survived. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. So here we've got a setup that does wonderful, meaningful damage. And here, let me put this up on the screen as well. For a lot of you that use a combat metrics, which is what this little add-on is, this information tells you everything. It tells you all the skills that I'm using. It shows all the gear that I have. It shows all the traits, and it shows all the enchantments, and it shows you all the points that I have into all of my CP. So I'll leave that up there just for a second so that you guys can take a little drink of water. There we go. All right. So this is the setup. I will also have this posted below in the description area so that you can just go to that if you need to, because I don't have a website yet. Maybe someday. So I use the descriptions down below to show all of our information. So, all right. I hope that that this was a good video for you. Everything, and that you got a lot out of it. Wow, 42 minutes. I always say, I'm going to make these things short. And then they just go along a little bit. Well, we got to explain stuff, So thank you all so very much for watching. I always cut in the last thing, see if I missed anything. Nope, we did gear. We did CP. We did the attributes. We did the Mundas. We did the food. We did the potions. We did the skills. We did the passives. And we talked about why we do it. Yeah, like I said, I think this is going to be a very, very good build. I'm excited. Like I said, we're a week out from the Endless Archives as of this moment. And I'm going to be using this week to get used to it more and more, and putting into the situations, like I said, like those world bosses and stuff, and survive with it. So, so a lot of fun. Really enjoy it, and I think you will too. So. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day, week, and everything, or whenever you're watching it. And I'll see you in the next build. So, thanks, everybody. Bye.